Good evening. Welcome to Investigator News, and I'm your host, Elly, and William tonight for the World War III report. Now, I want to start off with this Nikki Haley thing. Now, Nikki Haley did bow out of the primaries, and she should have a long time ago, but she did not endorse Trump like the rest did. There is a William, there is a division between GOP and some of they call old conservatives, but I think it's the conservative liberals that are the holdouts because we've got 24 members that side with the Democrats each time. Now, if she would have said, all of my supporters, please endorse Trump. I endorse Trump. Those votes would go over to Trump, and it could help um, the party to come together on the two divisions that they have. Because that's the biggest thing I'm hearing right now on the news is the division they've got, and they have to come together. Now, Nikki Haley could have been that um, that that niche that could have brought the two parties together. You know what I mean, William?
It's just,
Now, is she a rhino? Now, that's what I claimed that she was a rhino that was halfway Democrat, halfway Republican. But that is that a bad thing? No, no, not really, because we need someone that can connect to the Democrats to bring the Democrats to our side. So,
yeah, no, and it's hard to say.
yeah, it's a guess. It's a guess. It's a guess. It's an opinion that everybody's making right now.
Yeah, guesstimation.
Yeah, and but her best bet because she has got a good chunk of the liberal um, GOP. Now, I feel that if she really wants her party to come together, she would endorse Trump like the rest of them have. Now, if she's a rhino and is leaning towards the Democrat side, she won't do this, and that's my fear. So, as we folks, you got to remember, don't early vote. And why do I say that? Because if you early vote, yeah, the Democrats are so crafty, sneaky, that if you early vote and they see those ballots, they can estimate the ballots they need to win. And see that they've
Yeah,
even said that in California. They said a lot of early voting, and all of a sudden, Adam Schiff could get the spot of Garvey for a Feinstein seat for Senate. We don't want um, we don't want Schiff in the Senate seat. We want Garvey, which is a Republican. And all of a sudden, he's got these votes on early voting. The early voting is basically pushed him over the edge. So, what I'm saying is, don't early vote, folks. Don't mail it in. Don't go in and vote early. Vote on the day of the election. And why? Now, folks, you may have to stand in a long line. You may have to take a lawn chair, a walker, or whatever you need to sit in and just move it up. But we have to vote on the day of, well, this is the main vote in November. We have to vote on the day of because when we do that, they have no way to estimate or guesstimate how many votes they need to put in to win the election. See where I'm coming from? Yeah, and William, that's how they're doing it. All of them ballots in these um, that they can go and they put in different sites, and they're putting in 15, 20, 30 in there. Well, it's because they know how many early voters. Don't do it. Don't do it. Stand in the line on election night. Just do it. It may be uncomfortable, but folks, you got to get in there on only on election night and vote, because then they can't put in ballots to make up for the win. Now, is Biden going to stay in there? We don't know. Biden is now second guessing. Now, is that Jill? Is it his administration? Um, and then we hear Michelle Obama is maybe out. She because of what's coming out with the FBI and this investigation into the Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, James Biden, Jill Biden, and their kids is coming out. Um, it indicates that Obama administration knew all about this. So Obama and Michelle could be sitting in a little hot water right now. And now that Hunter Biden has went behind closed doors, well, now Michelle Obama says, well, maybe not. Maybe I won't jump in at the last minute. So they're gonna they're gonna hang Joe Biden out to dry. Who knows? Uh, Shifty needs, yeah, Shifty needs something. Shifty shift. Um, the only way he's going to win is with the extra ballots that are coming in as for early voters. So, all right. William, do you have anything on that, or should I just move on?
Just move on.
um, um, Green Berets. Um, and this is a very, I mentioned this to William on the phone earlier. The Green Berets reportedly permanently based in Taiwan for the first time. The American military advisor stationed in Army amphibious bases in Kinmen and Pinghu. Um, the U.S. has reported stationed special forces in Taiwan to conduct continuous training and missions in this country. Um, since last year, U.S. Special Forces have been assisting Taiwan Special Forces in learning to operate the Black Hornet Nano, the military micro unmanned aerial vehicle, and helped develop guidelines and instructional materials. The Aviation and Special Forces Command has submitted a proposal to purchase the drone from the United States in armed sales channels. This involves sending three-person teams from the Army Green Berets, specifically from the 1st Special Forces Group, the 2nd Battalion, the Alpha Company, to be stationed at the bases of Taiwan, the 101st Amphibious Reconnaissance Battalion. Now, amphibious is water, folks, so you know it's we're talking submarines. An Airborne Special Service Company for continuous joint training, which is our Air Force, their Air Force, Taiwan's Air Force. But not only that, but our allies that are already over there training. Now, the Green Berets, folks, and I told William, man, I haven't heard about the Green Berets since the movie. They're just a very secretive force. Um, and I told William to find something out on it. So hopefully he's got a good line on what's going on with the Green Berets. Because I know nothing about them except for the movie I watched, in the 70s, the Green Berets. I think John Wayne was in it. And that doesn't really give you an exact how they operate. And, when I read this article with Taiwan, they're a secretive unit that comes in and trains not only for submarines or special forces on the Navy, Marines, the Army, the Air Force now. Um, but this is something that is now pumped up, a war between Taiwan and China. And China's even stated yesterday that they're no longer seeking an agreement and peace agreement with Taiwan. Their military and aggressiveness have increased 7%. You got anything, William, on the Green Berets?
No.
Okay. Now, I want to move over to Kirby because Kirby has been um, working with Hamas. He's been working with Israel. And on Saturday, the United States Air Force, using a three C-130 cargo aircraft, began dropping humanitarian aid. Now, the U.S. military cargo planes dropped food in pallets over Gaza, and they feel this is the best thing that needs to be done because when Israel does it, they have problems. When Hamas does it, Hamas gets half of what's being dropped. So I'm sorry. So they're opening the stage of emergency on humanitarian assistance, authorized by goods of an aid convoy, were killing during the chaotic encounter with Israel troops. Three planes of air forces Central dropped 66 bundles containing about 38,000 meals to Gaza. The bundles were dropped in southwest Gaza on the beach along the territory's Mediterranean coast. The airdrop was coordinated by the Royal Jordanian Air Force, which had two food airdrops itself Saturday in northern Gaza and has conducted several rounds in the recent months. So we're seeing that Jordan is now stepped up and they're willing to do humanitarian aid with the United States. Now, it's I have to agree with Kirby on this, where when we not the United States, but Israel was moving aid into from Egypt. They had to hand it over to Hamas, and Hamas took it in, and then all of a sudden we have issues. So if we get someone neutral in that's going to put the aid in there, they feel that the people can swarm on the aid and hope for the best. But they do have drones watching it. Now, I haven't heard of um, Hamas terrorists swooping in and taking the aid just yet. But, I give it 24 hours and we'll hear some of the reports. Um, um, Now, get this, back to the kind of like the voting and stuff. A district attorney was told that her ballot, when she went to vote, had already been casted. And this is Harris County. Let's see if I can. Oops, no, no, no. I got to make sure I do this right. Okay. Now, this was Harris County. Um, this is in Texas. When she went to cast her ballot, the Texas primary election Tuesday, her name is Kim Ogg. She's a Democrat. She was prevented from voting because the ballot had already been casted in her name. She is also a candidate on the primary ballot. So she was not allowed to vote. And she said, what, when she looked into it, she said, now she understands. Now she understands that there are people voting that shouldn't be voting. And now it has changed her opinion on those getting hold of names, uh, hacking accounts to be able to get the right info to go into register to vote. It's because someone did it on her.
Of course.
She was able to cast her ballot later, um, but her life partner, Olivia Jordan, had to present identification to vote. And they don't share a last name on her live in companion. Um, but Harris County District Attorney told her ballot was already casted when she went to vote in the primaries. Welcome to the GOP world. You know, now they're doing it to them. Now they're, William, now they're doing it. They're casting votes um, uh, on these um, representatives of Congress and Senate. Even AGs and even local judges are now starting to find out that there are people that cast their own votes for them too. I don't, the, okay, Karen, quit laughing. Yeah, Karen's laughing about this because now they know what we go through. When we're looking at the last 2016 with Clinton and um, Trump, the Clinton votes or Trump votes were changing over to Clinton, and people were taking pictures of this, and they didn't want to believe them. And so now,
Yeah.
yeah, so now we got an AG in Texas that said someone voted in her name. Um, let's see. China now they have dropped peaceful reunification with Taiwan, and it raises defense spending 7%. Now I mentioned this briefly earlier, and so now they're saying there is no reunification. They have given Taiwan ample time to change their mind and to become uh, 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 with the CCP and Hong Kong and Hong Kong to become part of China, and that they would allow the CCP to run Taiwan. Well, now they've given it up. One of the things I think it is, William, is the Belt and Road Initiative. The Belt and Road Initiative has basically been pegged with troubles. And um, I'm trying to pull this up. It's been plagued by corruption and political backlash. So,
I would say,
you think so? Uh, Jinping's signature BRI program hit with waste and massive debt. But the whole thing it's not feasible nowhere. You know, William, when we look at, let me get that out of there. Um, okay, I'll get it off something that's talking. Um, so when we look into this, William, it's just more and more we see corruption with this administration. I mean, everything, the Belt and Road Initiative is a corruption of Jinping, yes. But the United States, the UN, nobody has ever um, said, no, this isn't right. You're going to third world countries and trying to scam them. Because that's what Papua New Guinea feels, is they got scammed and takeover by the CCP. And so, and everybody that has adopted it has backed out of it. Now, I'm not sure about Africa, but even Australia, when they brought it in, they seen that they didn't port, they did a base. And it was nothing about starting a railway system to help them get across the country. It was all about military and the CCP. And then when they backed out, then now all of a sudden Australia is a target by the CCP. Am I talking too much, William, or am I go? I'm good.
No, no, you're fine.
So um, the other thing is U.S. slaps more sanctions on Syria. Now I was waiting for this because we're looking at 100 and uh, over 100 strikes. We're looking at 100 and close to 158 days where our American hostages have been held by Hamas and Hezbollah. Now, Washington's first action targeting Damascus since its beginning of this war. Now, they're accusing two entities and three individuals of helping the regime of Syria, President Bashar Assad, Iran Islamic Revolutionary Guards, the Quds Force, and Iranians Hezbollah terrorist proxies to maintain access to international financial systems and violation of sanctions. Not only is are they in Syria, they're going after Israel, but other allies uh, with international financial systems violations, but even internet hacking systems. Um, these two domestic base exchange companies have facilitated millions of dollars in transfers since 2021 and accounts for the U.S. designated central bank of Syria to benefit the Assad regime. And I don't know how many times I've explained this, William, of how they move the money around. Um, and see, I even think that Fannie whatever in Georgia, moving the money around. They've learned how to do this from their foundations or their campaigns to the banking system to raising money and taking money and moving it through. Because if you do a little bit at a time, you can get up to 50 to 100,000 very easily.
Oh yeah.
Uh, the actions furthermore demonstrate the United States' commitment to promoting accountability for Assad's regime abuses and justice for the victims is an unwavering. But they're going to put these sanctions on Syria, but nothing on um, Iran. That's what gets me is why not Iran and Syria? If you got proxies from Iran and Iran is loading Syria and some of the terrorists there, Hezbollah and others, and Iran proxies and funding them, they should be at the same level as Syria for sanctions. But for some reasons, the sanctions is only for Syria and not Iran. Yeah. Um, William, they're sending another destroyer through the Straits of Taiwan. They did it in January. They're doing it again. And they said only because of everything going on. Now we've seen they have built another sandbar or building up another island. We see them blocking the Philippines and Taiwan and Japan. So now the U.S. Navy destroyer is going to make a second trip through the Taiwan Strait. They should just to see what happens. William? What happens if they get boat bumping? like all the boats have been in the Taiwan Straits, no matter what country it is. Now we're sending our own destroyer to make a second trip through the Taiwan Straits. Are they going to bump it, or what are they going to do? You know, boy, William's
I'm
quiet
confused
today.
by it all. I'm confused by it all.
Yeah. Um, Now, Kim Jong Un came forward, William, with, and I don't have much on Israel today, but Kim Jong Un, um, he was threatening military action in response to the drills and exercises being done real close to where North Korea is. And so now he's threatening military action. And when I looked into it, it was a sister, William, that threatened the military action. And between the two of them, they've now said there needs to be military action in response to this drill that is happening. Um,
I would say so, yes.
They said it's unspecified, responsible military action that responds to the ongoing joint military drills with South Korea, the Philippines, Taiwan is now considered a U.S. threat to North Korea. And now they are looking at, they don't want to do the peace deal no more with Taiwan. They feel now it's pushed it to war.
Sure.
Um,
I don't think so.
yeah. mm, um, I think it's a lot of muscle flexing again. And that's how I look at it, William. I'm sorry if people think this is a threat from North Korea, but how long have they been threatening the United States? How long have they been sending missiles to see how far they get?
A long time.
Yeah. And they were getting mean and ready to go. And then Dennis Rodman went over, and Kim Jong un was okay. And then he left. Everything was fine for quite a few months. And then a few Democrats go over there, and then boom, all of a sudden he's ready to blow stuff up again. And then Trump went over there, and he connected really well. And after that, everything that the Democrats or others were going over there to increase Kim Jong un and his sister to start a war was basically put on hold because of Trump. Um, Boy, there's a lot of Trump videos out there, William. Some of them are pretty lame. I was thinking
I
about
can see it.
gathering a bunch, but they're pretty lame. So, um, I don't.
Well,
Iran supersonics, William. If we're looking at, um, we know what North Korea, and they're saying they're ready. We hear uh, CCP's ready. They're not going to do no peace agreement. And then out comes Iran, unveils the first hypersonic, let me see, ballistic missile. And
so,
they had a great big ceremony, William, with the president, Rez um, Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps. Um, and this is according to the IRNA news agency.
yeah.
So Okay, so they have one, and they're not claiming they're going to shoot it. And I think that's what, there's a lot of clickbait out there that I see. This great big missile that Iran with a supersonic, they're ready to go. And it's going to be the end. Um, William, me and you have talked about this, and this is what gets me is we have Russia, we have North Korea, we have us, we have China. Quite a few have got capabilities to blow up a city. I don't think they're going to blow up the world. I just don't think so. I think they're too scared.
Yeah, that. They're terrified.
Um, and we have been talking about Victoria Newland. Now, out of the blue, she's been out in the news. Me and William been dogging her for what? At least the last three, four shows, William, of what she's been
Yeah.
doing. And they said after failing for decades, she feels and she's agreed that she has failed uh, the State Department number three for decades. And she said that basically, um, um, 3.5 decades of remarkable public service under six presidents and 10 secretaries of the state. The department said in a press release these experiences have armed Toria with an encyclopedia knowledge of a wide range of issues and of the regions. So she's going to turn it over to the next. But how much of it's going to be true?
None of it.
Because now look at this, Congress and Senate are all up for election in November. So just remember that. So the more we can get to the Californians and tell them, hey, don't do this. It could be better. It could be better. It, Folks, don't stick on make American great again, because you do that, they're just going to label you. How about we just get in there and we get this done? We get our country back, and we do what we can to make it sustainable. Don't jump on a and the Democrats call it a cult, William. And I'm now, I looked at some of their info and I said, wow, I didn't realize it was so hot and heavy on Make America Great and Trump. Trump can fix this, but don't look at the Make America Great. What? How many times, Karen, have I said it's about the plan, not the man? You got to look at his plan. So now that Nikki Haley's out of the way, William, we got to look at the plan of what they're going to do. We just can't count on Trump to say he's going to get in and change things. Okay, what's he going to change? It's now time for him to reveal the plan. I mean, even Harris is even saying that if Joe Biden backs out, which it looks um, like it could happen, is she going to run for president or vice? It doesn't look like it. I think they're stretching it, William, till the election. And as our world leaders look at us, folks, it's it's when we look at our allies, they're willing to help. When we look at our enemies in those countries that we have sent our own Congress and Senate in, and when they come out, we don't hear what their trip was about. Hmm. Okay, I don't want to rattle on. I want to keep going with the news. Unless you want to add something, William. I think William's under the weather today, so bear with us. Um, Either that or the dog didn't get her gravy today. Um, They're even thinking that this is what gets me, is Pelosi and Schumer and Schiff, and I think this is what caused McConnell to definitely stay with Trump, is a Middle East policy. They want to get, the Democrats want to get in and pass a policy that gives not only more to millions, but start putting them in places like Hawaii, Japan, uh, anywhere that is an island, because they are able to get the minerals out of the ground. And it's ugly. It's really ugly. And there's some kids. Um, well, oh boy, I don't want to get off track here. Um, I'm just going to move on, folks. Um, um, yeah, um, Macron is now urging, and William, you might know a little bit about this. They're urging Europe to react. They're pushing them. So Macron, sitting easy over in Canada, is now pushing Europe and Poland, Germany, to say, you need to do a little bit more. There's not much he can do from Canada, but you guys need to do more. And the response from Europe to Macron was like, you're not, they have lived it since what, World War One, World War Two, right, William? And now they're looking at someone in Canada that's a president saying they don't know their history enough to know that they don't want another World War Two. They just think that if Macron says so, that the UN is going to step in and make them fire upon civilians. Um, Now, we see that big civil problem down in Haiti, folks. And this is building up to where we're going to start sending some of our soldiers down there. They're talking maybe 1,000 of them. And it's for unruly people. It's not about those fleeing the country. And if they are, then, they are coming up to the United States. And he said, this journalist said, when he looked at it, it looked fine. There wasn't much going on. So why do they need the weapons so bad? Why does Ukraine, if the only time they're seeing war, they have to drive to it? And even in Kyiv, they go days without bombs or planes. Uh, hmm, okay. William, if you want to jump in, um, the next thing, I want to say is, and I was going to put this on my weather and lifestyle news, because the low cost energy, everybody's waiting for it. They say, where is it? When is our bill going to drop? When is gas going to drop? When is natural gas going to stop and start dropping? And it's not. And they're looking at why. Well, there are many cities that have depended on the solar and wind panels, that when the power went down, there was so many of them they couldn't sustain it. So they had to cancel it out. So now there is no solar, wind. They're taking the wind fans down. They're throwing the solar panels out. And they now say they need to relook at the Green New Deal, of how much of it is true. They want the facts. They want the truth. And the Democrats are supposed to be able to come up with the responses. Is this going to be an impeachment towards Nancy Pelosi? That's what I said. So, and January 6th, I could tell you a bunch about that. So, um, all right. Getting down to the bottom, William. Um, there was an explosion, William. Did you see the explosion at a plant and it killed a young teenager? You there? Oh, you might be missing. So, um, anyway, there was an explosion, folks, and it killed a teenager, but it was just a weird type of explosion. I mean, it rocked um, many, many, many miles, and it shouldn't have for whatever exploded. And I haven't got the whole. I was hoping William had details on this. Um, so it did explode, and bombs have got markers on them. No matter what little bitty piece, we have got a bomb squad through. I believe it's ATF that they're able to unlock what's the truth and who's been stealing from these wagons or these donkey driven carts. Um, and they've been doing this for over 200 years. That's what gets me. Um, William, do you got anything while I'm really honored about the Green Berets. Um, when I seen the movie, it just it set me that the Green Berets should be part of our lives. And once the movie came out, it just disappeared. And then I have, when I look at my some of my games after I found that out and played some of my games, they were inaccurate. I had to say, no, I'm not playing. No more till maybe tomorrow. Um, so, William, you got anything? What do you mean, say what? Karen, what do you got a question on? I think William's under the weather today, so I'm trying to pull it for him. Now, Israel, folks. Um, Now we got Kirby, folks, that he is trying to say it is better for the United States to make these drops of food. And but at the same time, you could see the way Kirby's working with Hamas, working with Israel, and trying to be equally fair to both. Now, what he doesn't realize, and they're even talking a cease agreement. There's no cease agreement. Every time they have taken it to Netanyahu, he's rejected it. Now, when he finds different things that to me seem fair, they're just not going to get those states he took, but they could have the rest of the country. But they won't be supporting Kyiv or Chernobyl. That would be under Ukrainian affairs. And then all of a sudden um, you know, uh, they're reacting again. So, uh, so I think Kirby is just, to me, uh, he's running to Hamas, trying to the Hamas leader saying, "Just stand down. They're gonna go after you, but you got to stand down, and you got to stay at a stand down." And I think he's going over to Israel saying, "Don't be so tough on them. Get them the food. Get them the food." You know, at the same time, you're looking at people in Gaza that just won't leave. And when we talked about that the last program, where they're not going to leave, folks. They're just not. They don't want to give up their house because they're afraid if they leave, they come back, they won't have a house. But then there is families and friends of Hamas that are staying there, and they're hardcore. They're going to stay there till death, and yet they got their hands out for food. Um, so uh, let's see. I think. Oh boy. Now Newland leaving. Boy, I mentioned that really quick because Victoria Newland's been a big part of a lot of this military decisions. You remember Libya with Hillary? Yeah, we blew them up, and she was laughing. Well, that was all part of Victoria Newland, her, Pelosi, Feinstein. And then you see the squad today, folks, and it's just as crazy, just as evil. Um, I don't think he's got full bodies in his I got hit up here. I know. I don't think that the gentleman has bodies sitting in his house. They know what I mean, but that nobody else does. So, all right. William, anything? Or otherwise, I'm going to close it out for the night. Oh, I think William's away at the moment. I'll see if he's still on. Yeah, he's still on. Um, anyway, folks, so that is it for the World War III report. Now, I just want to go over again with Nikki Haley. Um, she, granted, Trump picked at her. But you do that when you're going against somebody. And when she came out this morning and she was bad on Trump, and then Trump came out and he nitpicked her, wrong, 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 wrong. I'm gonna say wrong for both of them. Shame on them. We need to get our conservative liberals together with our Republicans, because in order for us to win everything, the judges. I mean, when you guys did your primaries, did you vote for your judges? Did you find out who they were? Are they paid for by Mr. George? We have got to start looking at from our own neighborhoods, our own communities, to our states, to the feds. And if we don't, our country's in trouble. Our country's in trouble. So, all right, folks, I know it was a quick show and it should have been a little longer, but maybe I'll be back tomorrow. Now, we do have trivia on Friday. Um, but I believe if I don't do a recording later tonight, I'm definitely going to be in here tomorrow. Um, and hopefully William will feel a little better. He was under the weather today. And me, I'm under the weather, but I was ready to go today. So, all right. With that, folks, I want to thank everyone, and I hope everyone's seen um, the new Elly William opening. It's an advertisement for not only for us, me and William doing shows together, but to show a little bit. It's supposed to be a Facebook, but when I went to present it to Facebook, they said, no, no, it's too long. It was a 4-minute video, but when I look at it, I condensed it down. And Facebook won't take it. All right. So with that, subscribe and hit the like button, and we will see everyone tomorrow. I'm counting on being back tomorrow. So with that, uh, you know, uh, do the right thing when if coming up on these primaries. Our state did it, um, and Nikki Haley bowed out. So now it's about being 100% Trump. And you know what? If you don't like Biden and you're a Democrat, do the undecided thing. Don't vote for him. We have got a gentleman that needs to rest. Joe Biden has been in politics since he got into college. And folks, the old man needs to rest. And I think they're just pushing him. And I think they've led him to believe that he can do this. And yeah, he's going to stay in there and yeah, gung ho. I don't think he's going to make it. I just, when you look at our own family members, when you get old like me and Karen and others, and we have dealt with our parents with dementia, and you look at Joe Biden, folks, it's not looking good. And I don't know why they haven't throw Bernie Sanders in there, throw somebody in there, but let Joe Biden rest. Joe Biden is served the country for many, many, many years, whether you like him or not, folks. He's been there. He's been in politics all of his life. And, it's time for him to rest. And I wish his handlers or this administration would just say, you know what, Joe, go to the beach, hang out with your dogs. The dog's a bit of 29 times, folks, a bit of Secret Service. That should tell them it's time to just go out to the beach, enjoy your dogs, enjoy your family, and get out of politics. All right. Thanks a lot, folks. You have a great night and a happy Wednesday.